Okay, see if I'm live, and then yeah, this looks great, doesn't it? Well, it was round of the underdogs. I can't even speak. The round of the underdogs. The first 6 games, pretty much. No, I mean that's every underdog winning. So that's one thing. Carlton Collingwood. I was going with the flow of the fixture and the teams in general. Collingwood normally beat Carlton most of the time, especially in recent years. So I thought they would do it again. Mic is working, right? Yeah, mic is working. I think. I, there's no one here to confirm it for me, so let me just confirm it for myself. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. What did I just drop? Okay. Yeah, as I was saying, I thought Collingwood would beat Carlton. It's not a bad tip to make. That normally happens anyway. But this time round, Carlton won. They're on a bit of a win streak, and they've done it again. Their two most impressive wins, smashing Port Adelaide and then beating Collingwood in this game. They're very good. Collingwood missed a lot of chances too, but yeah, very good from Carlton. Well-deserved victory. Now they got a chance to the finals again. They're back in the 8. Hello, A45, how you doing? Then you got Geelong Fremantle. I don't think anyone saw Fremantle winning at the GMHBA against Geelong, especially on the form they're in currently. But miracles do happen, so fair play to Freo. Dogs lost at home to the Giants. I thought Dogs would win. I was convinced by that actually, but the Giants pulled it off. Gold Coast beating Brisbane, I don't think is actually as much of a surprise as the previous 3, or even the next 2. I think Gold Coast are capable of beating Brisbane, but to win by that many points, I didn't see that one coming. So fair play to Gold Coast. Essendon Sydney, another shock as well. Essendon, you'd think, should win that game, especially at home, but the Swans have shown that they can sometimes win a big game. And they've shown that again. Essendon versus Sydney, once again, a very good game. Sydney just about winning by 2 points. Then Adelaide smashed Port Adelaide. I tipped Adelaide as well because I thought it would happen because Adelaide did it once before already this season. Like I just thought, hey, the Crows they did it once, they can do it again. Port Adelaide, when they're on the win streak, yeah, sure, maybe they would have beaten the Crows, but they lost their previous 2 games before this. Their streak ended against Carlton quite miserably. Then they lost last week against Collingwood. Confidence would have been low, and Adelaide needed a win really badly. So I feel like Adelaide winning was a bit more of a, not, I wouldn't say obvious, but it was a bit more of a likely result than it would have been a few weeks before. So and also Adelaide in big games have been quite unlucky as well. They've been very close to beating Collingwood and Melbourne at the MCG, amongst other things. Despite only having one interstate away win, they've been pretty strong this season. So I think Adelaide beating Port for the second time was very feasible, and I got it right. I just did not expect it to be by that margin though. The margin was very big, but aside from that, I thought the Crows would win, and they did. And then I got all of Sunday correct. I tipped St Kilda, I tipped Melbourne, and I tipped West Coast as well. I tipped them because, hey, I thought they might win another game, and if it's going to be another game, it'll be this one against North Melbourne at home, and that was the case. They made hard work of it. They had a pretty big lead at three-quarter time, which didn't pay off for them. I mean, it paid off for them, but I mean, North Melbourne made them sweat at the end of that. So, yeah, why is it always the last 2 times I go on holiday to Europe, we have the best rounds of the season, round 11 and round 20. Before I start tipping, let's check the comp. 122 is the top dogs. Total tips for now, 4 rounds to go. So, I think it's safe to say I'm out of the running. All the way over here, 6 tips behind. It would take a real miracle. I feel like even if I got all 9 out of 9s, it would still be very hard. Stu, in the overall ranking, someone's got 131. I mean, 2 people have got that, which is pretty insane. So, yeah, oh, damn. There's still 800 people left in the gauntlet. That's very interesting. I wonder who used Gold Coast. Sorry, not Gold Coast, sorry, West Coast. If I got this far, I would have used West Coast. So, Can you imagine? I lost it on Hawthorn as well. Hawthorn beating St Kilda, which was very funny. Anyway, yeah, round 21. The first of the last 4 rounds. The Western Bulldogs play Richmond on Friday night. That is a huge game, very much a pivotal game. The Dogs looked very strong and looked like, oh, they'll definitely make the 8. But now they're in a bit of danger. And there's teams creeping up, including the Richmond Tigers, who are just a couple points behind. So there's a lot of stakes there. The Dogs are better. They have been the last couple of years, 2-3 years now. But you never know of Richmond. You never know. Will they turn up? They could well turn up, and they do need to win games. So it should be interesting. I think the Dogs are definitely favourites, and I think the percentage does actually reflect that. But you never know. But yeah, Essendon got West Coast. It's a must-win game really for Essendon. Adelaide got Gold Coast. Must-win game for both teams. Both teams need to win there, so that's going to be interesting. Hawthorn, Collingwood. Yeah, Collingwood are smashing us. I'm gonna lock these in actually. Adelaide winning is not obvious, I don't think. I think Gold Coast are capable of winning there. I do think it's possible, but I'm going to tip Adelaide in that. Essendon, I think, will 100% win, and so will Collingwood. Geelong, Port Adelaide, this is interesting. I'm going to go for a Geelong win, and that would put Port Adelaide at 4 losses in a row, which is quite mad considering there were 15 wins in a row, but it can definitely happen. Geelong at GHA is a hard fixture. Then again, Fremantle proved that it is doable. So did GWS, but GWS are used to playing there, are used to playing well there. They like the dimensions of the field. The GWS Giants against Sydney. The Giants are on a win streak. It's a great big sound on the west side of town. It's the sound of the mighty Giants. They have been incredible. It's hard to tip against them. Really. The Swans are capable of winning a big game, like they have shown against a few teams in the 8, or, well, not in the 8 rather, because Essendon are down here now, which is quite crazy considering, it looked like they'd be a real finals contender. So, like, Sydney winning is definitely possible, but with the Giants' win streak, and especially the win away at the Dogs as well, hard to go against them, so I'll stick with the Giants. Melbourne, I think, will beat North Melbourne. Even at Blundstone, I think that will be the case. Although Melbourne, they've not always won convincingly. But I think against North, they will be fine. And I think Carlton St Kilda is huge. Because if St Kilda win that, despite not playing that well, they're... St Kilda, you know what? St Kilda keep finding a way to stay in the 8. It keeps happening. I'm going to take a risk. And it is a risk. Because Carlton are clearly better at the moment. Saints had a better start to the season. But it's so much different now. But I am legit going for the St Kilda Saints. That's going to backfire on me. But look, risks are there to be taken. Then you got Fremantle v Brisbane. That's pretty huge. See, Brisbane, solid team, but I don't trust them as much away. Although that's mainly at the MCG, but still, there's a lot left to be desired. I'm going to go for Brisbane Lions, but I feel like Freo winning is also very much possible, especially off the back of the previous round, getting a huge win there. Hello, Genius Taka, how you doing? And finally, we'll come back to this game. I have taken my risk because I have to go for at least one. But I'm going to play with fire. Let's see if I get burned. I'm going to go Richmond by 7. As we've seen in the previous round, shocks can happen. So... more often than we think they could. So we shall see. But Yeah, those are the tips that I'm sticking with. Fremantle, Brisbane. I think Fremantle can win that game. They can. But I'm gonna go with the Lions. I got faith that they will do it. Taking a big risk in St Kilda. Carlton on a big win streak, doing very well. But the Saints always find a way to stay in the eight somehow, despite their form dropping so badly. And I think they will see this game as a possible chance to, you know, gain a bit more and stay in the eight a little bit longer. So I think they'll really go for this. So I'm going to go for them to beat Carlton, but I'm not confident at all. But I feel like, risks are there to be taken, and I'm happy to take that risk. And I'm not winning the comp anyway. So Melbourne beating North, I think, would definitely happen. North, I don't think will be complete pushovers there, but obviously they have declined a bit. I think they were better performance-wise first half of the season compared to the second half. Lately, they've not been as good. And the fact that West Coast have caught up to them now, I think, says quite a lot. Speaking of West Coast, there's another team that they've beaten this season, the Giants. I got them to beat Sydney. I think Sydney can do it. It is possible. But it's hard to go against the Giants' form. I have gone against the Carlton streak though, so but still, I think Carlton are more likely to lose that streak than the Giants. The Carlton Blues are the type of team that will win the big games and lose the easy ones. So this is more feasible than Sydney winning. And the Giants win streak, you can't argue against it really. Geelong v Port Adelaide, big game. I'm not saying Port can't do it, but I am saying Geelong will win, and I could be wrong. But yeah, if Geelong do win, Port have lost 4 in a row. I do predict Port will win the rest of their games after Geelong, but I do think they will lose to Geelong. Collingwood beating Hawthorn for me is the most obvious tip, aside from Essendon and West Coast. I mean, those two games are the most obvious tips, I think. I'm 100% sure Collingwood will beat Hawthorn by at least 50 points, and that's if to take it easy on us. I got the Crows to beat Gold Coast. Gold Coast, I think, are capable. It's not mission impossible, but it's also mission improbable. I think at the Oval especially. I mean, Adelaide have been in the eight for a lot of the season. Yes, they're not in there now, but it was largely due to their home form, which is what makes the Giants win there more impressive actually. But considering Adelaide got 2 away wins, and one was at the Oval against Port Adelaide, and the other was at Hawthorn, and that was only because they were lucky. So it's just like, okay, with 2 away wins, it was very impressive that they were in the eight at one point. But I think that just shows how good they are at home. And I think at home, they should dispatch a Gold Coast. I'm confident Essendon and West Coast, obviously. Richmond and the Bulldogs, I think, could go either way. I've literally said the Bulldogs are better, and they are better this season especially, and the last 2 seasons before this. But I'm going to take the risk, just like with the Saints, and go with the Richmond Tigers. So, yeah, Richmond, Essendon, Adelaide, Collingwood, Geelong, GWS, Melbourne, Saints, Brisbane. I feel like I should change either the first one or the Saints one, but I'm going to stick with my guns. So, yeah, this is your boy Davidoff. Please like, share, subscribe. Thanks for watching. Have a good day, and see ya.